Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets on what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for hitting download. So excited that you're here. What has been happening? It has been such a huge month in my masterminds. It's been so fun. So we've been diving into sales month with my beautiful Elevate ladies, and we're about to have a online event for the end of the month. So I have a couple of guest speakers coming in to learn about how to utilize Reels in a really impactful way and how to create Reels to actually attract your next level dream clients. And then I have another speaker coming in about human design, actually how you utilize your human design to attract your next level clients, but also to be the best version of yourself in your business to create really great results. So really excited for that. And then I'm supporting them in Elevate to really elevate their sales processes and also improve their confidence within sales and also set up their year so they can make 10K months. Like that's the whole goal of this mastermind, is to get them to that 10K month mark. And I love this month. Like honestly, I just love talking about sales because it is one of those things that has so much negative connotation to it and can have a lot of angst attached to it. And so once we work through all the stories that we have around sales, and then you start to learn the processes that go along with how to actually do sales, it can be actually a really enjoyable part of your business. And that's what I really want for people. I want them to get to the point where they don't dread it, they don't hate it, they actually want to go, okay, so what do I want to make this month and what am I going to do to make that? And then actually have a plan to go out and do that. So quite a few of them are working on their sales plans at the moment, and then they'll work through their sales processes, and then we're going to do some practice runs for how to really get good at sales, which is going to be so fun. And then for my beautiful next level mastermind ladies, they are exploring scaling. So they are really diving into setting up their business for scaling for freedom and profit. When we are still working towards making good money in our business, we can be really focused on just working towards security. But then once you start to step beyond six figures, it goes beyond just security anymore, because you know how to make money in your business. It's actually more about freedom and making sure that you actually are profiting, right? Because if you can still be making six figures and not be profitable, which sucks. And so it's so important that when you're creating a business, you're creating something that actually works for you too, not just your clients. And so a lot of the ladies in my beautiful mastermind in Next Level, they are diving into expanding one-to-many services. I look at helping them scale in a way that really works well for them, because you've got to scale your way, right? Honestly, you've got to scale your way. There's no point in going, okay, this is just one model of scaling and I'm just going to have to do it this way because everyone's doing it this way or because someone told me I should do it this way. No. We want to come back to what feels authentic to you, because you are creating the business that you're going to live into. So if you create a business where you have end up hiring team and you don't want to manage people, then that's not the best way to scale, right? If you are creating a business that is with online courses or something where it's completely passive, it might sound good, but if you really want connection and you really love interacting with your clients, then that might be a business that you don't like either. So it's so important that you create a business and you scale a business based on your strengths and based on what's really important to you. Otherwise, you can end up creating a business that you hate. So the women that I have in the beautiful Next Level Mastermind at the moment, some are scaling with programs, right? One-to-many programs. Some are scaling with courses. Some are scaling with people. Some are scaling with products. And so it really just depends on what's best for them. And because I have so much experience in so many different industries, I can help support them in scaling, because the scaling method is the same, but it's actually just making sure that it's the right fit. And so there's different skills that you need to learn based on your scale model. And we're going to dive into all of that this month. So they get access to all these beautiful lessons in the portal. And then we do some beautiful one-on-one coaching. And then we have our one-on-one in-person day coming up as well in the 1st of March. So super pumped for that. So that's what's been happening. I've been working really big time in the masterminds, and then I'm heading off to the US. So heading off to the US to attend a couple of events that I really wanted to be a part of. So I'm super excited for that. And I will share with you more about that on my stories on Instagram and on TikTok if you follow me along there. So I wanted to talk to you today. I know that was a bit of a lead in. Sorry. I just wanted to give you an update because sometimes I don't do that on the podcast, and I know that people want to know. So today on the podcast, I wanted to talk to you about how to trust your next move. This question actually came through my stories on Instagram. So I put out a little question box and asked people what do they want to hear on the podcast this year. And this one came through and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be so good. And it's one of those things that I think people can doubt and have fear around by making their next move. And it's so interesting because when I sat down to write a couple of notes of what I wanted to cover in this episode, I was really fascinated to acknowledge that I don't have a lot of fear or doubt with making new moves. I actually find them quite exciting and actually find them quite easy to make. I think it's my ability to have a high level of, I'm actually quite high risk averse. So I think because of the life that I've had and the decisions that I've made for my life, I quite easily make a decision and then just move on it. So I'm never umming and ahhing. I'm never I literally get inspiration and ideas. And then the next day I'm pulling together the sales page. I'm creating the full, I'm breaking it all down, making it happen and pretty much putting it out to promote. So when I decided that I wanted to create a money program, my most recent one, so I've got a new money program out at the moment called 30-Day Money Mindset Upgrade for Busy Business Owners, which is an audio program and it is absolutely the bomb. Honestly, check it out. It's so good. And it's so cheap for what you get in it. It's such an incredible program. So check out the link in my show notes if you want more details on that. But when I was thinking about creating that, I was really thinking about my ideal client and what they need and what they want and how they want it delivered. And I was like, I want to make it so easy. And I got the inspiration for the idea. And then pretty much it happened in December. And then I was like, I want to bring this to life now. And so I remember creating the sales page. And then I went and then worked on creating the program. And that's just how I roll. I actually visually need to see the sales page first. So I create the imagery and stuff like that for me to get excited. And it's just my way of delving into a new creative project. And then I went and then created the program over the Christmas holidays. And when I have an idea and I literally just have my mindset on something, I work towards getting it done. It's just something that I'm so passionate about. Usually it's something that I'm so excited about that I want to take action on. So when it comes to trusting your next move, there's a couple of key things that I want to highlight here. One is your decision-making process and understanding that there is actually no wrong decision. And I think some people have a lack of ability in trusting their own decisions if they haven't built up a strong trust within themselves and they struggle to actually back themselves, right? And so this isn't something that, this is not a judgment at all. Sometimes this can come from if we're brought up in a household where we weren't allowed to really make our own decisions, we weren't allowed to make mistakes, and maybe a parent was a little bit more of a helicopter parent and basically didn't ask you what you wanted and didn't allow you to make mistakes, it didn't allow you to make decisions for yourself. And so then as you then grew up as an adult, then you take that on board into your adult life and then you find it really hard to trust yourself in order to make your own decisions, right? So I remember having a past client that had this challenge and we worked through uncovering what was causing her to doubt her own decisions. And she would go to the extent of checking in with 5 to 10 different people before she then followed through on a decision. And what was actually happening is because when she was a kid and when she was in early schooling, her mum used to do her homework for her, literally take the homework off her and do it for her. And so she built up a belief system that what she was creating wasn't good enough. And so she was like, well, anything I do isn't going to be good. So I may as well, I can't trust what I think, right? So I've got to look to everyone else to get the right answers. And so that then she took that into her business. And so then she had a lot of doubt about making the next step. And what I took her through was we actually worked through releasing that old past experience and that old wound and started to build up some proof for her in her adult life where she has actually made positive decisions and she's made decisions where she's backed herself. And so there were small ones and now it's time to make some bigger ones. And so sometimes you have to start small to realize that you can back yourself and you've got to go all in with a decision in order to be able to trust yourself. And really what it comes down to is not whether it goes right or wrong. It's got actually nothing to do with that. What it comes down to is whether you are kind to yourself in the outcome, right? It's actually whether you love yourself through the challenges, right? Love yourself enough to be okay when things go wrong, right? That you can trust that you will figure it out every step of the way, no matter what happens. No matter what happens. And I think sometimes if we've had some past experiences where maybe things didn't go well, didn't go to plan, maybe we made some decisions that didn't work out well, we can sometimes have then an effect where it causes us to not trust ourselves again. Whereas you can rebuild that trust with yourself and you just want to start small and then you'll start to build up towards those bigger moves. And then when you back yourself with a bigger move, it's actually less about, or not anything to do with, whether it works out or not. It's just about how you are with yourself in the outcome of whatever happens, right? So if whatever happens, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, if you are kind to yourself, if you still cheer yourself on, you still back yourself, you still love yourself, then the rest is irrelevant, right? Because there are always going to be challenges in life. There are always going to be things that don't go to plan. And this is why I always think like sometimes we have to stop focusing on it being a wrong move, because there is no such thing. For some reason, you will be guided in some way to do something differently, and it'll lead you to something actually that you would never have seen before, or that you would never experience before. And it's about having trust with a higher power. So whether that's God, whether that's universe, whether that's source, that you are being guided. You are on a path of discovery, right? You get to experience all of this in your life. And whether you trust that, no matter what happens, you are going to be fine, because you will have your back. Does that make sense? So I think one of the things that when it comes to trusting your next move is you can only do so much research. You can only ask so many people's opinions. You can only figure out so much of it. And it's not until you take the action that you then see some results come back to see whether it was the right move or not. And the best thing about this is that you can pivot. You can always pivot. So even if it isn't the right move, you can change it. It's no big deal. And I think sometimes people can get so caught up in thinking that it's going to be a huge catastrophe if it goes wrong, or it's going to make a massive deal. Whereas really, like at the end of the day, the world is going to keep spinning. And no matter what happens, next month, next week, it'll be something different. And you will have forgotten that it's even happened. And I think sometimes it's just we get so caught up in worrying about all the worst case scenarios where you've just got to keep yourself present and go, am I going to back myself? Does this feel like the right move for me right now? If the answer is yes, make the move. And then know that you can change your mind. You can change your mind, right? That's the best thing about having a business, honestly. You can literally change your mind. And, for whatever reason, it might mean that you have to, certain things may have to change, but that's never a bad thing. I think it's about actually embracing change. I think that's also why I've been so risk averse in the past, is because I don't mind change. Change is actually quite something that I enjoy. And if I'm stuck in something for too long, I get fidgety. I get like something has to change. I'm so sick of doing the same thing, right? So some people, that's actually a significant need for variety. And some people have an opposite of the variety is certainty. So some people really desire more certainty in their life, whereas I'm not phased. I'm fine to not have a lot of certainty. And that's why I thrive in uncertainty. I think that's why I thrive in business, because, I honestly, it does not matter to me what's going to happen in 6 months' time. Like I could be in a completely different place in 6 months' time and be totally cool with it. So I think sometimes we've got to acknowledge that no matter what the outcome, it's about how you can trust yourself. And you build that trust with yourself by honoring your word with yourself, taking the steps, and being kind to yourself no matter what, right? Encouraging yourself, loving yourself, and knowing that you're going to be okay because you've got your own back. That's all it comes back to. You will figure it out every step of the way. You can always change your mind. Things can always change, and that's okay. Change is good. So I hope this episode has served you, and I hope this resonated with you, my beautiful listener who was asking me to do an episode on this. I really appreciate it. And if you're in Brisbane, I have an event coming up on the 23rd of February, which is called Thrive Beyond Six Figures. So if you would like to scale and grow your business this year, then this is definitely for you. Whether you are earning six figures or not, it's okay. This is an in-person mastermind day where you get to meet other incredible women in business, get to mastermind, brainstorm, and work on your business. We'll be looking at scaling systems and also looking at your sales money and mindset to be able to explore your next level. So come along. It's going to be such an amazing day. The tickets via the link in my show notes. Otherwise, have an incredible week. Thank you for listening, and if you've found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live, and make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.